welcome to my first ever episode on the Advancedcraft server, a server when we are taking Minecraft on to the next level. Today we will talk about my personal goal on the server. My goals for the server are reaching a world record where it comes to maxed out Minecraft statistics. We are now in the chamber when I gather my maxed out statistic for the noteblock tuned. What is basically noteblock tuned 2,147,483,647 noteblock tuned. It took a lot of time. If you would have just hold down a right click button, I will present it to you by showing my scoreboard. Noteblock tuned. And actually funny thing is that when you reach the limit in a statistics screen, that won't break down for you, but where it comes to scoreboard it will. So if there would be 10 plus players joining now and tuning noteblock, I would be left out of the scoreboard until I tune the noteblock for another 2 billion times. So in vanilla speed, if you just hold down a right click button, you would get one right click every 4 ticks. That makes 432,000 clicks per day. What may sound like a lot, but it will take you over 13 years to get there. So how did I get to the limit if this world is only 4 years old and I've been working on this project for a period of time smaller than 2 months? The answer is carpet mode player command. Not actually, it's only half of the answer. By using this command, you can make a player right click twice every single game. So it basically reduced the time from 13 years to less than 2 years. But it's still way too long for any human to work on a project on such a long time. So what I did, I am also running a tweaker, what is client-side mode made by Masa, and by entering the configurations, we can go to generate, scroll down, and we can see fast right click counter. The number of right clicks to do per game tick when quick fast right click is enabled and the use button is held down. And the maximum value for this is 64. It may be possible to do more than 64, but that basically means that if I enable my fast right click, I can do 64 clicks in a single tick, what is basically 256 times faster than just holding down the right. And it also stacks with the carpet mode use command, what basically means that I am clicking right now at a pace of 66 clicks per tick, what basically equals to 66 times 20, 1320 clicks per second times 3600 equals 4,752,000 clicks per hour. So saving that number and dividing the maximum value divided by that equals us 452 hours divided by 24 equals only 19 days of holding down right click. And my time played is 440 days, what makes it 1/7 of my time played on this world, on the server. So actually now it's the time to talk about upcoming thing, because I said that my goal is to reach the world record for the max out statistic in survival. I actually don't know the current world record, but I most likely think that it's about 3, maybe 5 statistics max out. And statistics have a lot of things like animals bred. If you can get one animal bred for every single tick for 3.4 years, you would max it out. But it's highly unlikely that someone will ever done that, because it's basically impossible to breed the animal every single tick. And over 3.4 years investment is way too big for anyone to try, unless you need it for a project, and we will talk about it later. Armor pieces cleaned. No one will craft 2.1 billion armor pieces. Banners cleared. If you would have a raid farm supplying yourself and dispenser support would be added for cauldrons, it might be possible. Only might be, because it's still not feasible. It would take like at least 5 years to do it. Barrels open. It requires more action, like quitting the GUI. Bells rank. Bells rank is actually something that I'm working toward, and you can already see that I have done little bit less than 10% of the entire work. The work is basically staying AFK and using right. And where it comes to bells, I can use the same idea as the noteblock tune. Cake slices eaten. It's not feasible. Cauldrons filled is actually one of my goals. But where it comes to cauldrons filled, you also need to empty. And for cauldrons emptied, water taken from cauldron is another statistic. So basically, for working on this one statistic for 900 hours or roughly 40 days, I will also get this statistic to it max. Just open it. It requires quitting GUI. What makes it not feasible? Damage absorbed. It requires golden up. I believe this is the only way to get absorbed damage. Damage blocked by shield. It may be feasible with a big TNT cannon or something like that. Damage dealt. It would be feasible with a big mob farm that could produce over 70 mobs per tick. Actually, not even that. It would be feasible with a mob farm running on the portals concept. If you could deal a lethal damage to mobs for 1 year, it should be enough. And where it comes to damage, the value is somewhat misconceptualized because there are numbers after the dot, and wherever you look for, there's always dot something 0, and you can basically throw this 0 out and start counting with 2. So you need to get here are first 3 digits, here are second 3 digits, and here we have 8 digits in total. And to make it to its max, I would need to acquire 2 more digits, what in the current state of server makes it impossible, because we don't have a fast mob farm like that. Damage dealt absorbed. Highly impossible because it still requires apples. Damage dealt resisted. Requires player. A lot of players standing with resistance beacon. Maybe it's feasible to do it with players. Or mobs with a turtle master potion. Damage resisted. Damage that I resisted because of the resistance effect. Damage taken. It might be on a highly populated server. Damage taken is more feasible than damage dealt, because it does not require any interaction that could be broken by any more players on server. Dispersal savior. It also requires exiting the GUI. Distance climbed. Where it comes to all those distances, there's actually something funny about that. If you can see, we have 14.05 kilometers climbed, and is that mean that I would need to get 2.1 billion kilometers? No, I would need 2.1 billion centimeters, and 1 block is 1 meter, so climbing up 1 block will grant me 100 statistic points, what basically means that I have to climb 21,000 kilometers to get it to the limit. So climbing speed is not that great. I can present it to you with mini HUD mode. I have the player speed enabled, and by getting a ladder we are starting at 2.36 blocks per second. That basically means that I would have to climb for months to reach the goal. But distance fallen could be gained a lot faster. Yes, it's actually true. But where it comes to distance fallen, you can fall over 50 blocks per second. What basically means that in 1 second you obtained over 5,000 statistic points. What divided by 20 equals about 250 statistic points per tick. That makes it more powerful than my right clicking. similar situation is where it comes to distance swam. I can present it to you by using a scoreboard. You can see that I am close to hitting 300 kilometers of swim distance, what basically translates to 330 million statistic points of swimming. And in 1.16 you have a cool trick that you can use dolphin grace boosted by soul speed boots to get to a speed of 260 kilometers per hour. By using Twickeroo I can line up myself correctly and get to over 140 meters per second, what basically equals over 14,000 statistic points per second. So if I could create an IFK farm with dolphin grace for swimming statistic, it would only took me 150,000 seconds, what equals 42.3 hours, what is a lower amount than 2 days. And that's the peak of the distance statistic. But does that mean that the only statistic that I will farm up are distance fallen and distance swam? Of course not. Let's take a look at this statistic. What do you see over here? I guess you can clearly see that there are 10 deep over there. That means that I am over a halfway there when it comes to distance by a lighter. Over 14,000 kilometers by a lighter. But it took me over 8 months to get here. So how could I speed up this process? Basically I can. And I won't. It might be possible to design a farm for that, but I won't do it because a lighter distance is something that I will hit naturally without any dedicated farm. So does that mean that we are stopping here? Of course not. Have you ever seen Cycraft server? What's the most popular way of transport on the Cycraft server? Of course, there are piston boats. So by setting up scoreboard, objective, minecart ride, we can see that 2 of my boats have over 500 kilometers by minecart. And what I can do about it? We can use piston boats, what transport players at whopping 30 meters per second. Actually, not all the 30 meters per second counts, what makes it somewhat problematic, but it's still feasible. Of course, if Enderman won't grief your base. That's why we are running data pack. And now what I am supposed to do about this? Okay, but are we stopping there? Minecart, falling distance, distance by elytra, distance swam with dolphins. Are we stopping there? Or is there something else that is feasible to be done in survival? And of course there is. Sprinting and walking distance are doable by setting up a track between the entrance and portal and the exit and portal, what would basically loop you around, and it would take many days to do it, but it's feasible. But there's actually one more thing, and the thing is ISO. I actually don't have a scoreboard ready for boat, but you can see the speed of the boat in my top left corner. So by using a boat on the blue ice, we can reach a whopping 70 meters per second, what basically means we would only need 4 days of non-stop riding forwards to reach the statistic limit. But are we stopping yet? Of course not, because there are actually more things that we can do, and I haven't checked that yet, but I'm almost certain that you can put a pig or a strider inside the boat, put a saddle on them, and let another player ride the boat, and it would still increase your distance by strider and pig or pig as you would ride the boat. But I haven't tested it yet. I am sure that it works this way with minecart, so why wouldn't it work with boat? And where it comes to horses, you can put a horse in boat, unfortunately, but you can put them in minecart. That means we can also keep the distance by horse, just doing the thing that is distance by minecart. Actually not, because you can put horse game look for horses a little bit at a strange way. Because what is a horse inside of Minecraft? A horse is definitely a horse. We can all agree to that. A donkey is also counted as a horse. Okay, let them be. Mule is also counted as a horse. Okay, skeleton horse makes sense, but one thing that doesn't make sense are llamas. Have you seen here a distance by llama category? It should be over here, but there's no such a thing, because distance by llama is also counted to the horse category. So if your statistic by using the technique I talked about before would work, you can just put a llama inside the boat and let another player ride it. What basically means that you, to max out this for statistic distance by boat, distance by horse, distance by pig, distance by strider, you would need 16 days of non-stop boat riding. All the GUI things are impossible to do. Fish code is also impossible to do because usually it takes more than 100 ticks to fish out a fish, so it would mean over 300 years to get it to the limit, at least 300 years. Game squid, it's also impossible because all the processing that have to be done takes a lot more time than a second, so it would take at least over 90 years of script constantly quitting and entering the game. GUI stuff is all out of the window except campfires. You can see I currently have 0 and I will leave it this way because it might be feasible to do it in survival, but it would require a lot of hours of designing a farm. Items dropped. You can see that I have 646,000 items dropped. And is it feasible? No, because it does not count items as stacks. It counts only stacks as one item. Items enchanted. Interaction with items enchanted is out of the window, because even if you have a super fast script that would make over 1,000 enchants per second, you still would need to supply the player with 1,000 items to be enchanted per second. What basically means supplying player with infinite XP and infinite swords, and I already thought out of a way that you can do it. And the way that you can do it is by running this sort of gold farm. When it's running, it can supply player with infinite XP and infinite gold swords to be enchanted. But there's still one more thing when it comes to enchanting item. A stupid addition that comes with 1.8, what is the need for lapis in order to enchant. So that basically means if you would like to make 1,000 enchants per second, you would need to supply your player with 1,000 lapis per second. And I don't know about you, but I have only mined 1,900 lapis all, and with perfect RNG it would only make 950 stacks of lapis, so it wouldn't even be enough to run this kind of script for more than a minute. I would say it would still be the statistic world record for items enchanted ever, because I believe no one have ever enchanted more items than freaking 64,000. Okay, the next thing on the statistic page is jumps, and taking into account that you most likely won't make a jump every single tick, it's not feasible, or most likely not. Mob kill with super overpowered mob farm that would basically make a mob cap of mobs fall in front of your eyes every single tick. It would be possible. Actually, it would be easy. Even if you have only like 30 mobs fall in front of your eyes every single tick, it still is doable. Music displayed. You need a special farm for that. That basically means you would need to have many thousands of music discs in circulation and water stream transporting them back into your player's inventory. Noteblock played. You would have to constantly be moving to increase this statistic, unless you have a clicking script that would click, wait until it out, but it would be not feasible due to the time. So even where it comes to be moving, it would require 100 times more distance than distance statistic. No box tune. It's doable in survival, and I have proven that. I believe I am one of the first ones, if not the first one to ever done that. Number of deaths. Unless you can die under one tick, it's not feasible. Plant spotted is also one thing that I'm going for. And The other thing is time. Every single time statistic max out at 3.4 years because it counts time in game. So 2.1 billion game ticks is 3.4 years and it's doable, but it will take years. So is that everything that we can do where it comes to maximizing statistics in survival? Of course not, because we only got through the general, and the same rules applies to both items and mobs. And when it comes to mobs, being killed by mobs is impossible. There's no way someone will do it, but getting mobs killed is actually possible. Just the same way as getting general mob kills to max to the limit. It's possible to do it with, for example, zombified piglin. I already have 3 millions and it took me like 1 week AFKing in trash farm, so it would take me around 1000 weeks to get to the limit, but I can use much greater, and I will do it when the time comes. So that's it for the mobs category. Now into the item, because it's get interesting in here. Times mined. To get times mined anywhere, you would need to mine for at least 3.4 years. Is it doable? I don't think it's doable for anyone who doesn't have a different goal in mind. Because my goal, one of the goals of the server, is to create a highway to all the different world borders. That means 30 million blocks out in the nether. 30 million blue eyes. This is like impossible feat. It will take literally years and multiple high output ice farms running in those time, but it's doable. So this is it for the mine. Times broken. There's no way you can ever possibly do it. You can break a tool faster than times crafted. Times crafted, surprisingly easy. It won't be that hard. For example, I will hit the packed ice definitely one day. Blue ice, no way, because even if we complete all the world borders, it still only requires 120 million blue eyes, so it's nowhere close. And of course you can glitch the crafting, like by using redstone, crafting redstone in redstone blocks and crafting redstone blocks into redstone. That could be a pretty fast way to get a lot of crafting times used. Of course I will one day hit it on netherite pickaxe, then I will switch my ice farm to the diamond pickaxe to get diamond pickaxe to the limit, to also get diamond pickaxe to the limit. And one thing that I'm actually doing is getting bucket uses to the max. I have 118 millions or something like that, plus water bucket uses. I have similar amount, plus lava bucket uses. I have 500,000. Works the similar way as a noteblock tune, but bucket requires 2 actions, because first you need to get the liquid out of the bucket and then get the liquid back into the bucket. And when you get liquid back into the bucket, you get a bucket use. And for blocks, it may be possible, but I don't think someone should ever waste their life trying to do that. Swords. Looking for the fact that most of the time we will use sword once per second. That means once every 20 ticks. That would mean that it would take 60 years of AFKing in a farm, and I won't waste my life on something like that. Actually, there is one more thing. Warp fungus on a stick. If you enable fast right click, it's possible to literally spam it, but I'm not sure how fast it is. I haven't done much testing. The same goes for fishing rod. I'm not sure about it. All the blocks are out of the window, all the weapons and only tools except picked up and dropped. This is an interesting thing, because we can literally farm that without any concern about items. You can see that I have dropped and picked up a lot of cobblestone. It's about 2 million, I guess. This is 2,074,638. This is a really annoying bug in Minecraft, that statistics are overlaid. I actually have dropped to 900,000 rotten flesh and 114,000 redstone torches. I guess it was when I was crafting stuff. Okay, so is this the end? Yes, actually this is the end because there are no more statistics in Minecraft. Unless we will get some kind of update with more interesting things. For example, maybe we will get telescope or spyglass as they call it. And it will be usable with fast right click option, then maybe we will be able to also farm the telescope uses. But I haven't done any testing with snapshots, so that's it. Okay, so at least one of them. Okay, that's it for the video. If you want to support me in any way, you can watch my previous videos or visit my tip and donations or my second channel. That's it. Take care. Bye bye.